Today on KUJH News, the results are in, but the winner of the KU elections may be facing a penalty from another coalition. Just who is facing possible disqualification coming up, and how much the Lawrence Humane Society is looking for in donations to fund a new facility. Hear from the Lawrence Humane Society director. And another day, another player departing from the men's basketball team. Just who's on the way out and looking for an NBA future. Up next. KUJH News starts right now.
From the University of Kansas, you're watching KUJH News.
Welcome into KUJH News. I'm Alex McClune. Tonight, the KU Elections Commission will hear 6 complaints concerning Student Senate. One of the complaints filed by KU United is calling for the disqualification of one KU, which won the election last week. Here, one KU President Maddie Womack, one of those named in the complaint, is shown near a student voting. The complaint alleges members of one KU campaigned at polling places which could see which parties students were voting for. The complaint alleges one KU violates a section of the Student Senate rules and regulations, specifically that individuals are not allowed to campaign at polling sites or view a screen determining how students vote. We contacted both coalitions and the Elections Committee, which will make a decision on the complaint, but no party commented. The hearings will begin at 5 o'clock in the Clarkson Gallery. The Kansas State Legislature is in a 3-week recess, and the House and Senate are leaving several issues unresolved. One of the biggest issues unaddressed is the state budget, with an expected $900 million shortfall over the next 2 years. State Senator Marcy Francisco represents the state's 2nd district here in Lawrence, and she says the budget is the state's biggest priority.
We need to raise, I would think, at least $400 million just to get by, but more like $900 million to start paying the services that our citizens expect.
Francisco says one of the state's estimates come in for this, when the state's estimates come in for this month, she hopes a budget will be decided on within the first week of May. But for now, it's April, and at KU, spring sports are in full swing. Now, the Jayhawk rowing team may have some competition for the school's top aquatic racers. KUJH reporter Ellis Wiltsey introduces us to a group of engineers gearing up for a race of their own.
They called the Titanic the unsinkable ship, but we all know how that one turned out. So what about a canoe made of concrete? A group of KU engineering students is making just that, and what's more, they hope to race it.
We are part of a competition through the American Society of Civil Engineers. We design and construct a canoe made of concrete, and then we race it in a regional competition every spring in hopes of winning and going to nationals.
While the Voyager just started taking shape a few months ago, it's been in the works since August. These design files showing just how much planning it all takes. During my trip to their workspace, they were applying the final layer known as patch mix, which is later sanded down to give the canoe its smooth finish for the water. They even let me try my hand at their hard work. But after all this planning and effort, how does something made of concrete actually float, let alone race? KU Concrete Canoe co-captain Andrew Minter explains it's a lot more buoyant than meets the eye.
It's probably going to be one of the longest boats of competition. It's 21 feet long, and it's hopefully about 300 pounds. It floats because we pack each end of it, the bow and the stern, with giant blocks of styrofoam, and because it displaces a lot more water than the weight inside of it.
And while the Voyager isn't race ready today, she'll head to Fayetteville in 2 weeks to take on the waters. Reporting in Lawrence, Ellis Wiltsey, KUJH News.
If the Voyager advances, nationals take place June 17th through the 19th at the Colorado School of Mines. Well, today's the day to get those canoes out, or maybe just get out and enjoy the weather for now. Kennedy Schneiders joins us now with weather. And Kennedy, I'm hearing Mother Nature might have a change in plans later this week.
That's right, Alex. It's a gorgeous day outside, and these warmer temperatures are only here for a couple of days. As the week goes on, we'll see some cooler temperatures and perhaps some participation in the forecast. I'll have more about the severe weather coming up. Alex?
A few weeks ago, the university's debate team season came to an early end. Expectations aside, KUJH reporter Tyler Baddock says the success of the past season is driving the program to expand.
After reaching the quarterfinals in the national tournament, the KU debate team is looking to grow even more. 30 members of the team participated in the national tournament. Head coach and professor Scott Harris says he is looking to increase that number.
Now, that's a pretty good number for us to be able to travel. We're spending more than our current funding revenues can support at that particular level, but we would like to expand the size of the program and to make it even larger.
KU debate team member Jacob Hegna says increasing the number of members who travel to tournaments will give the university more opportunities for success.
Representing the University of Kansas obviously gives more opportunities for the university to win tournaments, be represented in deep elimination rounds, so traveling more teams is obviously super important to doing that.
Harris says the goal for the team is to reach a few $1 million in endowment as the number continues to rise since 2002. This will be used as funding purposes for the team.
Yeah, our goal is to develop a $5 million endowment in support of the debate program. We began 15 years ago with about $600,000 in revenue that existed in endowment. We've grown that to about $2.5 million and are trying to reach a goal of $5 million.
Harris has the set number but does not know when the team expects to reach their goal. Until now, the team can only prepare for next season. From KUJH News, I'm Tyler Baddock.
The team looks to keep increasing their funding. Next season begins in August. The Lawrence Humane Society is in the midst of raising funds for a new facility. The new building will be built on the same grounds and is expected to cost $7.5 million. The Humane Society has already raised $5.5 million. The city has donated $2.5 of that itself and is now asking the community to help donate the last $2 million. The current building, which was built in 1995, was slightly renovated in 2007, but is behind in terms of keeping animals healthy. The funds will help build rooms assisting with disease prevention, stress reduction, and allow for more quiet and cleaner rooms. The Humane Society Director, Kate Mejji, knows some may be concerned about the price, but she believes her research proves the numbers aren't crazy.
I've looked at pretty much every shelter that's been built in the last 5 years to see what the cost per square foot is, and really it's going to be $300 to $350 a square foot. And that's primarily because of the HVAC systems.
To donate, you can visit the group's website at lawrencehumane.org. Walk-in donations are welcomed. Coming up on KUJH News, police still searching for a suspect in the Cleveland shooting, streamed on Facebook Live. More on the suspect coming up. And tensions with North Korea tighten after launched missiles. And does President Donald Trump have a move planned? We will see, and we'll be right back after this.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your closet. Still no jobs? Just more stuff? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover keytar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs.
We connected so fast when we first met. I think that our relationship will last for a lifetime.
Being a role model for someone, being there for someone, there's nothing I can compare it to. She has uncles up in Minnesota that treat me like I'm their own now.
I feel like she's actually my big sister in a way.
It's been one of the best decisions I think I've ever made.
Police are on the hunt for a Cleveland man who shot and killed another man, streaming it on Facebook Sunday. The suspect, Steve Stevens, can be heard on this separate video posted to Facebook, talking on the phone to a friend claiming he, quote, snapped. Stevens recorded a video of himself driving up to a 74-year-old man, Robert Godwin, and opened fire.
Obviously, he's got deep issues, and whether he was calm or not, he committed a heinous crime in this city, and we want to get him off the streets as soon as possible.
Stevens also claims he killed over a dozen more, but police haven't found any evidence. The manhunt for Stevens now expands to Pennsylvania, New York, Indiana, and Michigan. On Saturday, North Korea paraded a new fleet of missiles celebrating Kim Il-sung's birthday. But when the missiles fired for testing, they failed almost immediately. Vice President Mike Pence arrived in South Korea just after the ceremony. Pence stressed America's commitment to security of South Korea.
On behalf of the President of the United States, my message to the people of South Korea is this: we are with you 100%. Even in these troubled times, we stand with you for a free and secure future.
Pence took to Twitter saying if China is unable to do so, the United States will. President Trump says China has the ability to rein in North Korea by blocking trade routes and halting their economy. The sunny weather back in the States may not last for long. We have Kennedy Schneiders back in the studio for more information on the weather. Kennedy?
Yes, Alex, it's a beautiful day outside. Currently, it's 71 degrees out with a steady wind coming from the southeast. Taking a look regionally, temperatures are just beautiful, ranging from 68 in Ottawa to 72 in Manhattan. Taking a look at our Monday planner, we'll stay in the upper 60s most of the evening, dropping into the lower 60s tonight. Tomorrow, we'll still enjoy the warm weather, reaching into the upper 70s. Wednesday, we're looking at a slight chance of severe weather here in this region of Kansas. Those cities should look out for high winds, hail, and potential flooding. Now for the 5-day forecast, we'll continue to rise into the upper 80s until Wednesday, where the possible severe weather brings in a cold front heading into the weekend. Alex?
So that's the weather forecast. As for sports, we saw spring football in action, and we got the Kansas Relays coming up.
Yeah, the weather's certainly been cooperating. And coming up next in sports, who stole the show at KU football's spring game? Plus, the Kansas Relays are just a few days away, and the downtown shot put event already has a clear favorite. It's all coming up next. Stay with us.
So they say it's a man's world? I don't see anybody's name on it. While they were doing their thing, we slowly changed all that. Today, women can do anything men can do. And there's one thing we're even better at.
When my youngest, Addie, was 2.5, she was diagnosed with leukemia. The doctor stopped by and said, well, it is leukemia. And then the next thing she said without even missing a beat was, and here's what we're going to do. We are so blessed and lucky to say that she is extremely healthy. I could not be more grateful for groups like the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. It was that research that let that doctor say it's leukemia, and here's what we're going to do.
The news every Jayhawk fan knew was coming has finally arrived. Today, Kansas freshman Josh Jackson said in his statement that he has decided to enter the draft and pursue a career in the NBA. KU's 6'8" forward was a projected lottery pick even before the season began. Many experts believe Jackson is still slated to be one of the first 3 picks in this summer's draft. The young star's potential landing spots include historic franchises in Los Angeles, New York, Boston, and Philadelphia. Unlike Kansas guard Svi Mikhailuk, Jackson has elected to sign with an agent, meaning that a return to Kansas will not be possible. In his lone season at Kansas, Josh Jackson averaged over 16 points and 7 rebounds per game, while making over 50% of his shots from the floor. The NBA draft order will be determined at the league's lottery on May 16th, with the draft set to take place this summer on June 22nd. As one great athletic talent is packing up to leave Lawrence and others making plans to arrive in town later this week, in part with the Kansas Relays, this year's downtown shot put events will include multiple top 25 throwers, headlined by gold medalist Ryan Krauser. After spending his college years at Texas, Krauser continued his training to eventually become the gold medalist at last year's Summer Olympics in Rio. Krauser set an Olympic record to win the gold in 2016. He's now preparing for the 90th annual Kansas Relays as the favorite. The Relays will be held this weekend, April 19th to 22nd. Complete details are available at KUathletics.com. In another spring tradition in Lawrence, Kansas football fans got a first look at head coach David Beatty's 2017 Jayhawks. While many hoped for highlights from the quarterbacks in the annual spring game, underclassman safety Mike Lee stole the show in the weekend's inter-squad scrimmage. In what is usually a friendly exhibition, Mike Lee showed no mercy, laying out multiple teammates with highlight tackles. The young safety was an honorable mention on last year's Big 12 defensive team and is expected to become KU's lead tackler next season. Kansas football opens the 2017 season at home on September 2nd against Southeast Missouri State. While Kansas football is spending the spring preparing for next season, the KU baseball team is in the middle of Big 12 conference play. After dropping Game 1 to Oklahoma State, the Jayhawks rallied to take Games 2 and 3, winning a second straight Big 12 series at home. Kansas stepped up at the plate for 20 combined hits in the final 2 games of the series, led by freshman second baseman James Cosentino, who earned Big 12 Newcomer of the Week honors after reaching base 10 times over the weekend. The Jayhawks now sit at 5th place in the Big 12 after coaches picked Kansas to finish last in the preseason poll. With the top 8 teams advancing to postseason play, the Kansas State Wildcats are currently the team projected to be left out of the conference tournament in Oklahoma City. The Jayhawks look to carry momentum as they travel to Wichita, Norman, and Phoenix for the longest road stretch of the season. From Division I to Major League Baseball, Alex?
Yeah, Sam, on Easter Sunday in the nation's capital, the Nationals baseball team, traditional president's race. In the race, a team of area mascots sabotaged the competition to help Teddy Roosevelt finally claim a victory. But the Easter Bunny had other ideas. Tackling Teddy to the turf in the final stretch, the Nats mascot Screech stole the win. So you've heard about Tortoise and the Hare. Now it's the Easter Bunny getting in the middle of a race and causing some controversy.
That was not expected.
Good thing for fans to see at the ballpark. Yeah, you don't see that every day at a baseball game. Well, keep an eye out for those rabbits. That's all we have for today. Thanks for joining us. We'll be back on Wednesday.